Dear students, in the previous classes you studied about the various concepts in electric charges and fields. Here just I will give you an outline about this entire topic. So here first you studied about this concept of charge. In this concept of charge, you studied the properties of charges. Properties. So the main three properties are: charge is additive because it is a scalar quantity. Next, charge is quantized, and then charge is conserved. So these are the prominent properties of charges. Next, after the properties of charge, to explain the force between charges, you studied about Coulomb's law. So this Coulomb's law is nothing but F is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 divided by R square R cap. So it gives magnitude and direction of force between 2 point charges. Next, by using this Coulomb's law, you studied about this unit of charge, Coulomb. Next, you studied about the principle of superposition here. To explain force between multiple charges, you studied about principle of superposition. So regarding Coulomb's law, you just remember the magnitude of force, direction of force, unit of charge, and then this principle of superposition which is to be applied to find the force between multiple charges. And also, in terms of this Coulomb's law, you define the dielectric constant or relative permittivity of medium. That is, this epsilon r, this is equal to force between 2 point charges in air divided by force between the same 2 point charges separated by the same distance in a medium. Next, in order to explain the force acting between two charges without physical contact, we introduced this concept of electric field. So basically this electric field is nothing but force per unit charge. By using this statement of electric field, you obtain the electric field at a point due to a point charge. So this E, it is given by 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q divided by R square. Next, to represent this electric field pictorially, we explained electric field lines. You studied about these properties of electric field lines. Next, from the concept of electric field lines, we define this electric flux. So this electric flux d phi through a small element of area delta phi through a small element of area delta s at a point where the electric intensity is E. This is given by this equation. Next, after this electric flux, you studied about dipole, electric dipole. Dipole moment. You studied about dipole moment. Next, electric field on the axial line. Electric field on the axial line of electric dipole is given by 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught 2 vector p divided by r cube. Similarly, electric field on the equatorial line, it is given by k vector p divided by r cube. You also learned about this torque acting on this dipole. Tau is equal to P cross E. So these are the things which you learned regarding dipole. Next, the physical significance of dipole. In the physical significance of dipole, you learned that there are two different kinds of dipole molecules: polar molecules and non-polar molecules, which explains the behavior of dipoles in external electric field. After this, you studied about this Gauss law. That is, the total electric flux is equal to 1 by epsilon times the total charge enclosed by the closed surface. Next, as an application of this Gauss law, you studied about the electric intensity at a point due to uniformly charged infinitely long straight wire, which is for a wire, this electric intensity is given by lambda divided by 2 pi epsilon naught r n cap. This is for wire, and also you obtain the expression for electric field at a point due to a uniform infinite plane sheet of charge. So for plane sheet of charge, this electric field is given by sigma divided by 2 epsilon naught n cap. And for spherical shell, you got this electric field to be k q by r square n cap, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square n cap. So these are the various topics which you learned in this particular chapter. Here this whole chapter is for 10 hours, and from this chapter you can expect questions up to 8 marks. From this chapter you can expect questions up to 8 marks. So to solve numerical problems based on these concepts, first you should thoroughly understand these things and you should remember these formula correctly. See, in physics, you have to remember the various formulae the same way as you remember the formula in mathematics, like trigonometry, calculus and all. So unless you know these formula correctly, it is not possible to score good marks, particularly in the competitive examinations. As far as the board examination is concerned, these concepts are important, and also in the board examination in part D, simple numerical problems will be given based on these various concepts. So let us try some problems based on these concepts. Here there is one problem. This problem is given that if for 10 to the power of 9 electrons move out of a body to another body every second, how much time is required to get a total charge of 1 coulomb to the other body? See, the given problem is like this. here there is one body A, here there is another body B. So it is given that from one body to another 10 to the power of 9 electrons get transferred in 1 second. So this many number of electrons get transferred from one body to another body in 1 second. Now the question is, if this body is to get 1 coulomb, how much time is required? So this is the problem. So in the theory I told you that whenever electrons are removed from a body, it becomes positively charged, and electrons are added to a body, it becomes negatively charged. When electrons are transferred from A to B, here this becomes positively charged and this becomes negatively charged. Now the question here is, if B is to get 1 coulomb of negative charge, how much time it would take? So you have to get the solution for this problem on the basis of the quantization of charge. So first you find how many electrons are to be removed from A so that this becomes 1 coulomb charged. So for in 1 second, this many number of electrons are transferred. So by the time it gets 1 coulomb, to get 1 coulomb charge, to get that many number of electrons here, you find the time taken here. So from quantization of charge, this Q is equal to plus or minus Ne. Therefore, number of electrons to be transferred to B so that it gets 1 coulomb charge. This 1 coulomb is equal to N into 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19. Therefore, this N will become 1 divided by 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19. So if you find this value, it comes to be nearly 6.25 into 10 to the power of 18 electrons. If you do this calculation, you will get that much. So, if you 10 to the power of 9 electrons are transferred per second, time taken to transfer electrons is 6.25 into 10 to the power of 18 divided by this 10 to the power of 9. So you get 6.25 into 10 to the power of 9 seconds. So in the problem it is given that if this many number of electrons are transferred from here to here in 1 second, how much time is required to charge it by 1 coulomb? So if this is to get 1 coulomb of charge, this many number of electrons are to be added. So in 1 second, 10 to the power of 9 electrons are added. For adding 6.25 in 10 to the power of 18 electrons, it needs this much of time. So you can expect these type of simple problems, particularly in CET examination. Now shall we look at another problem. Two-point charges plus Q and plus 4Q are separated by a distance of 0.12 meter. Here there are 2 point charges. plus q plus 4q. They are separated by a distance of 0.12 meter. Now the question is, where should a third charge minus q be placed between them so that it is in equilibrium? That means you are asked to find where this minus q charge is to be placed so that it is in equilibrium. You know that equilibrium means the resultant force on that minus q charge is to be 0. Suppose if I keep this minus q here, can the force become 0? No, because this positive charge, it attracts in this direction. This positive charge also attracts the negative charge in the same direction. So due to these two charges, force on this charge being in the same direction, the resultant force on this minus q can never become 0. So it can never be in equilibrium if it is placed this side. Similarly, if it is this side, then also the same situation. So when minus q is this side or this side, it cannot be in equilibrium. If I place this minus q somewhere here, due to this positive charge, the force will be this side. Due to this positive charge, the force on this will be this side. When these two forces becomes equal and opposite, then the resultant force on this minus q can become 0 so that it can be in equilibrium. So this point is A, this point is B, let this point be C. Now let x be the distance at which this minus q is to be placed in between the two charges so that it can be in equilibrium. So when this distance is x, the remaining distance will become 0.12 minus x. Let x be distance of minus q from plus q, where it can be in equilibrium. Therefore, the force on the charge at C due to the charge at A, it should be equal to force on the charge at C due to the charge at B. So this magnitude should be equal and the direction should be opposite. Sorry, force, not field. So for equilibrium, this is the condition. Force on charge at C due to the charge at A should be equal to force on charge at C due to the charge at B. The condition here is this K Q1 Q2 divided by AC square is equal to K Q1 Q2 divided by this BC square. So these common terms, I am considering only the magnitude because direction is opposite. So this is Q 4Q divided by x square, Q 4Q, sorry, Q into Q. Here this is Q into 4Q divided by see here these two charges Q and Q, distance is x. Here these two charges are Q and 4Q, distance is 0.12 minus x. So these terms can be cancelled. So if I rearrange these terms, this 0.12 minus x divided by x whole square is equal to 4. If I take square root on both sides, it becomes 2. So 0.12 minus x is equal to 2x. So 3x is equal to 0.12. Therefore, x is equal to 0.04 meter. So at a distance of 0.04 meter from A or 0.08 meter from B, the resultant force on the minus q charge will become 0. That means it will be in equilibrium. So when these type of problems are asked in examination, first you make out where the force on the given charge can become 0, whether this side or in between. By identifying that, you consider this distance to be x, therefore this force should become equal and opposite to this force according to this condition. So thereby you can find this x, 0.04 meter from Q. Here is another problem. A charge Q is placed at the center of the line joining two equal charges plus Q. If the system of three charges is in equilibrium, what is the value of this Q? The question is like this. Here there are two charges Q and Q. Two equal charges. So this is at A and this is at B. A charge Q is placed at the center of line joining these two equal charges. This is the center of line joining these two equal charges. Here another charge Q is kept. Now the question here is, if the system of these three charges is to be in equilibrium, what should be the value of this Q? If the system of these three charges is to be in equilibrium, what should be the value of this Q? This is the problem. This problem was asked in the CET examination twice. In 2 different years, the same problem was asked. So if the system is to be in equilibrium, the resultant force on any one charge due to other charges must be 0. That means for equilibrium, the force on the charge at B due to the charge at A plus force on the charge at B due to the charge at C, it should be equal to 0. So for equilibrium, the force on any one charge due to the remaining charges should be 0. So you consider this distance to be R. Now what is the magnitude of this force FBA? It is K. This charge is Q. This charge is Q. The distance is R square. Plus this force between these two charges K, this charge is Q, this charge is Q, the distance is R by 2 whole square, so this should become equal to 0. You rearrange the terms, so this K, Q square by R square is equal to minus QQ R square by 4. So you strike off these common terms. Therefore this Q is equal to minus Q divided by 4. Therefore this Q is equal to minus 4Q. So this is the condition. See, obviously this charge should be negative. Sorry, this is this 4 will come to the numerator. This Q must be equal to 4q, or this q should become equal to minus q divided by 4. See, obviously this charge q must be negative, because if this is negative charge, then only the force on this charge due to the negative charge will be in this direction, force on this charge due to this can be in this direction, so the two forces can become equal and opposite, then they can cancel each other, thereby it can be in equilibrium. Suppose if it is positive, then on this charge due to both these charges force will be in the same direction, therefore it cannot be in equilibrium. So therefore, if the system of these three charges is to be in equilibrium, obviously the charge must be negative. That is how you got this negative sign here. So this is the condition for equilibrium of the system of three charges. So you remember, equilibrium means the resultant force is to be zero. From that condition you can get the solution for these type of problems. The next one, point charges, one 4 times as strong as the other, are placed at a certain distance apart in air. Here these are 2 point charges, one 4 times as strong as the other. That means if this is q, this must be equal to 4q. They are placed at certain distance apart in the air. That means this distance is r. The force between them is 0.4 Newton. So initial force between these two charges is 0.4 Newton. The next thing given is, when the distance between them is decreased by 10 centimeter, the force is increased by 0.5 Newton. Calculate the charges and their original separation. So here two charges are like this. One charge is 4 times as strong as the other. They are separated by certain distance. So initial force between the charges is given as 0.4 Newton. Therefore, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q into 4q divided by r square is equal to 0.4. This is equation 1 from Coulomb's law. This is the equation for force. The next statement that is given is, when the distance between them is decreased by 10 centimeter, force is increased by 0.5 Newton. So when the distance between charges is decreased by 10 centimeter, that means what is this new distance now? Initial distance is r. When it is decreased by 10 centimeter, new distance will become r minus 0.1 meter, because this formula of Coulomb's law, it is valid only in SI system. So this distance being given in centimeter, obviously you have to take it in meter. Therefore the new distance will become r minus 0.1 meter. Then force is increased by 0.5 Newton. That means on decreasing distance by 10 centimeter, force increased by 0.5 Newton. Therefore, what is the new force now? Initial force plus the force that has been increased. So this becomes equal to 0.9 Newton. Therefore, The expression for this new force can be written as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q into 4q divided by r minus 0.1 whole square is equal to 0.9. So this is equation 2. Here two statements are given. You are asked to find these charges and initial separation. So two equations are there, two unknown quantities are there. You solve them and you get R and Q. So how to solve these two? You divide equation 2 by 1. If I divide these two equations, these common terms will cancel. So equation 2 by 1 means you will get R square divided by R minus 0.1 whole square. Equation 2 by 1 means this term will come to the numerator and this term will come to the, this will be there in denominator and this will come to the numerator. So 2 by 1 means it is 0.9 divided by 4. So if I take square root on both sides, R divided by R minus 0.1 is equal to 3 by 2. If I simplify this one, take root on both sides, we get this one. So 2R is equal to 3R minus 0.3. Therefore, R is equal to 0.3 meter. So this is the first part of the problem. You are asked to find the initial separation, it must be 0.3. And then you are also asked to find these charges. From equation 1, this is 9 into 10 to the power of 9, 4q square divided by this r square is 0.3 square, this is equal to 0.4. Now you simplify this one. So 9 into 10 to the power of 9, 4q square divided by, this is 9 into 10 to the power of minus 2. So this is 4 into 10 to the power of minus 1. So you strike off these common terms. So this q square, this is 10 to the power of minus 3, and when this term goes this side, 10 to the power of minus 9. So it becomes 10 to the power of minus 12. Therefore, Q is equal to 10 to the power of minus 6, that means 1 microcoulomb. And this 4Q, the second charge is 4 microcoulomb. This type of problem was also asked in the annual examination once or twice. So first statement is given, second statement is given. From these two statements you are asked to find the charge and separation. So on simplifying these two equations, first you got R to be 0.3 meter and then this charges to be 1 microcoulomb and 4 microcoulomb. So to solve problems in physics, the first thing is you have to read the problem thoroughly once or twice. And you think of which concept is to be applied there. You take the appropriate formula, do substitution correctly and solve the equations correctly. Thereby you will get the solution for the problem. And this final solution is to be written with the appropriate significant figures along with unit. So don't write as many digits as you get in your calculator. You have to write the final answer in appropriate significant figures along with this unit. So unless you practice the problems by yourself, you won't get idea to solve problems at the time of board examination or in the annual examination. So we shall take up one more problem. three positive charges are placed at the vertices of an equilateral triangle of side 0.2 meter. So charges of 3 nanocoulomb, 4 nanocoulomb, 5 nanocoulomb are placed at the vertices of an equilateral triangle of side 0.2 meter. You are asked to find the force on the largest charge. So out of these three, this is the largest charge. So you are asked to find the force on this charge, magnitude and direction of force. So I take this point as A, this point as B and this point as C. So whenever you are asked to find the force, here more than two charges are there, therefore obviously you have to apply the principle of superposition. When only two charges are there, straight away you can apply Coulomb's law. But when more than two charges are there, to find the resultant force you have to apply principle of superposition. So on this charge you have to find the resultant force. So first you find the force on the charge at C due to the charge at A. So what is the idea which I told you while explaining theory? You imagine that on the charge on which you are finding the force, it is a movable charge. So if this 5 nanocoulomb is movable, because of this positive charge tends to move in this direction. So this is the direction of force on 5 nanocoulomb due to 3 nanocoulomb. So this is the force on the charge at C due to the charge at A. Similarly, force on this 5 nanocoulomb due to this 4 nanocoulomb. This is a positive charge, this is also a positive charge. So this charge, it tends to repel 5 nanocoulomb in this direction. So this is the force on C due to the charge at B. Now half of the job is over. So you calculate the magnitude of these two forces. So force on charge at C due to the charge at A, FCA, you write this formula once, because in the examination for mentioning formula 1 mark will be there. That is why, though you know it, still you have to write it here. After writing the formula only you go for substitution. In case if you simply take the values in the formula without writing the formula, you will lose the mark for writing this formula. That is why first you have to mention the formula and then you have to do substitution. So this is 9 into 10 to the power of 9. One charge is 5 nanocoulomb. Another one is 3 nanocoulomb. So you calculate this one. Similarly, you calculate this one by yourself. Similarly, force on the charge at C due to the charge at B. Once you have write the formula, now you go for substitution straight away. So 9 into 10 to the power of 9. One charge is 4 nanocoulomb. Another charge is 5 nanocoulomb. The distance between these two charges is 0.2. So you do this calculation here and the direction is along AC. Here you also do the calculation here. Direction is along BC. Therefore, resultant force on charge at C. This is given by the parallelogram law, because these are the two vectors. So their vector summation is given by the diagonal of this parallelogram. So this FC is equal to root of this FCA square, FCB square, 2 FCA, FCB. What is the angle between these two forces? This being an equilateral triangle, this angle must be equal to 60 degrees. So obviously this is also equal to 60 degrees. So it is cos 60. So you do this calculation. I'm giving this calculation part to you. After doing all these calculations, you will get around 6.8 into 10 to the power of minus 6. 10 to the power of minus 6 Newton. So this is the force. Now direction of force. This tan alpha. So I take this angle as alpha. So tan alpha, you have to use the formula B sin theta divided by A plus B cos theta. So according to that formula, it is FCA sin 60 divided by FCB plus FCA cos 60. So by using this you find tan alpha. It comes to be nearly 0.47. Or whatever value you get, you find that value, and from that you find the value of alpha. So a system of 3 charges is here. To find the resultant force on this charge, first you represent the directions of forces. Next you calculate the magnitude of these forces. You apply parallelogram law and you find the magnitude of the resultant force. Next, from the same parallelogram law, you find the direction of resultant force. So you do this problem by yourself, and you will take up few more problems in the next class.